Right then guys, so in this video I'm going to cover Jurgen Klopp's comments in the press conference for the FA Cup game against Wolves. I've got a few things I want to say about Caicedo and Vadiol, and then we've also got this little bit that's come out today, apparently that Liverpool have got 200 to 250 million to spend in the summer. So let's start with Jurgen Klopp's comments, and he basically said that we're going to do like a strong lineup tomorrow against Wolves. His quote says, "We will line up as strong as experienced as we can. There will not be a rotation because of the competition," which is really good because I feel like it'd be good to end the season with a trophy if we could win the FA Cup out of the three that's remaining. Obviously, I don't think we've got really much chance of winning the league now. Champions League is a little bit iffy with Van Dijk's injury, so if we could get anything over the line this summer, it'd be very good if we could get the FA Cup done. He also confirmed that Alisson has been the FA Cup goalkeeper and will be the goalkeeper tomorrow. Last season, Kelleher played the fourth round game because Ali has only just come back the day before that game. Now, this to me says that if Kelleher is not going to play again for the rest of the season, that he'll be leaving in the summer. You know, like, he's going to want game time. He's a young goalkeeper. I don't think he's going to want to be sat on the bench all season and literally only rely on Liverpool getting further in the Carabao Cup to get game time. And if that is the case, that Kelleher gets sold and Adrian's contract is already up, that's a goalkeeper we're going to have to sign in the summer as well, with this 200 and 250 million that apparently we've got to spend. So he also said as well that with Gakpo, that he's been training, or Hakpo. I've heard some people saying Hakpo, Gakpo, like which is it? Is it Hakpo? We'll find out tomorrow with commentary, won't we? That he's had 2 days training with the team. He's very positive about him, and we don't have to compare him to Diaz, but we expect a very positive impact, definitely. Now, for me, that's really good. I feel like we should chuck Gakpo in tomorrow, starting lineup, first game, chuck him in, let's see what he's all about. Playing with Nunez, playing with Salah, let's get that fluidity and that knowledge of each other's game started now. Let's get it going. If push come to shove, we can put Ben Doak on for Salah like later on in the game if it's won by that time. But front three has to play tomorrow because I don't think they get a chance to play again until Brighton the following weekend. So we need to start that movement now. Virgil van Dijk's injury, he basically said it was a surprise that it's come out as so bad it was. Virgil apparently didn't feel much, and it's just that the diagnosis afterwards has basically shown that it's as bad as it is. You know, apparently it says here that Van Dijk would have rather stayed on the pitch rather than come off against Brentford, and he's put a time on it as weeks, more than a month. So you're looking at, I'm probably going to say 6 weeks from now is that, and I think that takes us to about the 13th of February if I'm not wrong. So it's going to be touch and go for the Real Madrid game, isn't it? Let's just hope we don't get any more injuries to our centre backs. You know, Gomez, Matip, Kanate, Phillips. You know, like. That's interesting. Do you think Phillips will play tomorrow? Do they give Trent a rest? Nah, we haven't got a game in midweek, so just play a strongest team you can. Strongest team you can. Forget what I said then. Now, Klopp has also asked a question about the midfield, and his comments back to it was quite sarcastic, really. And it's come across recently that I think Klopp's a bit of a yes man to the media, but I hope he's just doing that to show like a solid front to the journalist, you know, like he's a businessman, you know, and he's just towing the line to the public. But I hope behind the scenes he's actually having a little bit of a word and, you know, putting a bit of pressure on stuff like I need this, you're not doing this for me. I hope that's what's happening anyway. But anyway, back to this question. He answered, only in the midfield. It's a general problem, not a midfield problem. Defending starts up front. If you don't defend from there, then the midfield have no chance. Balance might be a problem now. Brentford's goals didn't come from a ball through the midfield. Now, you are right on that. But how did Brentford manage to get to the wins, to put the ball into the box? It's because the midfield had no intensity. You just said then that if we don't defend from the front, then the midfield struggle. But then if the midfield struggle, then the defence are struggling. It's all kind of linked there. And then also, it might not have happened in this game, but it definitely happened in the Leicester game when Leicester scored that goal and they went straight through the middle of the team. That was definitely a midfield's problem. So I think he's being a bit of a company man to the public, and I hope that he's saying a few more different words behind the scenes. And now this kind of ties into the Caicedo stuff that's come out, where he has changed agents now, because I think apparently he had 3 at one point, but now he's down to 2, and he's moving to like a different organisation. Now this does make everybody think, and myself, that he's getting ready for a move. Like, you only change agent when you want to move or get a better deal, and I don't think he'll be getting a better deal at Brighton. So a lot of people know that Liverpool are interested. We know that we have interest in the player. We know that potentially Liverpool have, well, not potentially, we know that Liverpool have rejected the valuation of the player this month, basically. You know, I think the fee is rumoured to be about 70 that Brighton want, and I think Liverpool standing around 55, 60. And will not budge further than that. And I think they were kind of hoping that Brighton would change their mind, come down a little bit. But I think that's going to be taken out of our hands now, because as I mentioned in my last video, when the news broke, Enzo Fernandez to Chelsea being off now. Do not be surprised if Chelsea go for Caicedo. They've got the link with Potter being his old manager at Brighton. They've got the money because they were going to do like a structured deal to buy Fernandez. So, and obviously Caicedo is apparently a lot cheaper than what Fernandez was going to cost. So they've got the money to pay for him. So don't be surprised if we start seeing Chelsea linked more with Caicedo and seeing a little bit of the ball rolling there. Now, I hope that we see something similar that Liverpool have done before in the past, where with Diaz, for instance, where we knew that Spurs were going for him, we were going to wait for the summer, but because of Spurs' interest, we moved in and got him. Now, I kind of hope we have something similar there with this one, but let's wait and see with that. Now, we've got some little bit of positive news that's come out today regarding a transfer, and it's that Vadiol, who plays for Croatia at the World Cup and also plays for Leipzig, which is part of the Red Bull group that Liverpool have had a lot of success with. But say success, because we haven't with Naby Keita, but we have a relationship with them, shall we say, where we buy players from them. You know, Konate, Keita, Minamino. You know, we've bought a few players from the Red Bull group. Could this kid be the next one? So in this interview, that I think it was back in his homeland, he was basically asked a fair few questions, and they basically mentioned to him, like, you know, you're the 9th supposedly most expensive player to buy right now. And then it got onto this question here. And they go, Manchester City was also mentioned in a transfer for you. What if we had to choose City or Chelsea? Now, that's the question to him, which doesn't make much sense because it's translated into English, but they've basically mentioned City or Chelsea. No mention of Liverpool. And his answer goes, well, I don't know. No one presented anything to me. No idea as far as I'm concerned, but I'm in no hurry. We have time. Let them put together a plan and we'll see. And then they've asked him, so if we asked you when you were 10-year-old, what would you say which club you would want to play for? That would definitely be Liverpool. I've watched a lot of Liverpool games with my dad since I was a kid. We've seen off every season in detail. It's a club that's stuck in my heart. Now, that's really good to hear from a really, really good centre-back, as I think we need to also invest in the centre-back at this moment in time. You know, we've got Matip that's ageing. Van Dijk seems to be getting injured every season now. We can't rely on Gomez. We do have the bright prospect of Konate. So if we could bring in this kid alongside Konate, that could be our centre-back partnership for years to come. You know, also we have heard that Konate has been linked to a move to Real Madrid. And if we don't get Champions League football, I think that could have a lot of ramifications on what happens this summer. I don't want to try scaremongering you and thinking we're going to lose some of our players, but don't be surprised if someone like Konate moves on in the summer if we don't get Champions League, especially if Real Madrid come calling. And especially when they've got like the young French lads there already, Tuchemane, Camavinga, you know. Let's not dwell on that right now. But this Vadiol stuff is really interesting. Like I say, I think we do need another centre-back for definite. He will be expensive. I think he's valued around 85, 95 million, something stupid like that. But let's wait and see what happens there. Now, I will end this video talking about this news, shall we say, that apparently has come out saying that Liverpool have 200 to 250 to spend in the summer. Now, apparently this move has been broke by football journalist Christian Falk, and he works at Sport Build, and he's the head of the football at Sports Build, shall I say. And he goes on to say that Liverpool have been heavily linked with Jude Bellingham and will need some financial firepower to get that transfer over the line. And he's basically said that Liverpool will have 200 to 250 million pounds to spend in the window, in the summer, and a lot of that will be spent on one midfielder. Now, I think a lot of us think that's going to be Jude Bellingham, but if we have 200 to 250 million pounds to spend in the summer, where's the money now? Because let's say, for instance, we're going to go buy Bellingham. He's going to cost 100 to 150 million, yeah? Which leaves us, depending on which valuation you go with, 100 or 50 million to play with now. Why don't we go and get Caicedo now? Why do we have to wait to the summer? Why is Liverpool the team that's always been told next window, next window, next window? Like, if we don't sign Bellingham in the summer, then we wasted the last summer window, basically, didn't we? Like, we went all in for Tuchemane, who, in all terms and purposes, was basically going to be a Liverpool player until Real Madrid came in. Then we get told that basically Matheus Nunes is going to join Liverpool. And it's come out recently that we let him go to Wolves so that we could buy him for more expensive later. Doesn't make any sense, guys. I don't think this... And this 200 to 250 million, does this take into account if we don't qualify for the Champions League? Because there was something that Neil Jones, the journalist at Goals, was saying on the Anfield Wrap podcast, that he's heard that Liverpool have two lists to buy players depending on if we qualify for the Champions League or not. That's what he said. Now, he doesn't know how drastic that is, but he's basically saying that the Champions League qualification is imperative to Liverpool spending in the summer. Now, if that's true, why is FSG not trying to spend now? Because if we don't qualify for the Champions League, it's going to pull down the value of the club and they will not get the 4 billion, whatever it is they think they're going to get, because the value of the club's going to come down with no Champions League. It's frustrating, guys. It really is. Like, with this whole Caicedo stuff, I just don't see us signing him. I really don't see us signing him this window. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But, yeah. I think I'm going to leave it there before I start ranting a little bit more. But let me know down below what you think, guys. Give this video a like if you've enjoyed it. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I'll catch you in the next one.